This is nice.
Yes,
we sat down.
We're sitting comfortably.
I know, I feel like I'm about to play the piano or sing a song for you, but I won't. Don't worry. Right, Kathy, can we have a look at some of your artwork? This is always fascinating when we see how the stamps evolved.
We did show some earlier at the 6 o'clock show, but I won't go back there. If you want to have a look, then obviously go back to that show. This is how posturage started, just a couple of doodles, just playing around with composition and you know, forward facing, side facing, different eyes and so on. Just more of the same, more of the same. This is part of the decorative work. I'm not sure, I think they might be eyes as well.
Yes.
And that's why he's got holes here, can you see?
Yes.
I cut them out and then I put, in fact that's probably what I did. I think I probably lay that on there so to see, yeah, how he was going to look. And then we go on to, oh, I missed the page. Oh, there we are. That was actually the final drawing that became our posturage. But can you see here, I did actually draw that and then I put a cross through it and drew that one. So I knew that that was the one that we were going to go with.
Wow. It amazes me every time. When I see this, it looks to me like they're printed, but drawn, hand-drawn, it's just, you're so talented.
Wow. I'll try my best, but that's basically the stamp, and that's what you get on it. So you get the main posturage, one with his head in the sand or her head in the sand, and then different options for the crown, the feather, and a couple of sentiments. And yeah, then we go on to the rhinoceros, and again, I mean this one came relatively quickly. We knew we wanted a side on because we'd use the side on the paintings which you see behind me. That's from whence this came.
Right.
So it started with the painting, and then the painting then produced the stamp.
Yes.
And so it came from there.
Now the inspiration for these, did they come from a trip on safari?
Well, the original, Mel went on safari probably, how long, was it about 5-10 years ago? Yeah, about then, and she came back with loads of photos, and in actual fact, the zebra, which I think, did we show that earlier? I think we might have done. The zebra one, oh no, we're coming to it. She gave me a picture of the zebra yonks and yonks ago, and one of our very first embroidery patterns was of the side view of a zebra, which has now migrated to a little silhouette onto our zebra stamp.
How amazing.
So, you know, it's sort of what goes around comes around, and there's the painting up on the wall of the zebra, and that was from Mel's photograph.
That is incredible you took that photograph, and what a lovely memory to have, and now that memory can be yours in your artwork.
So there we are. So we're going on with the rhino. Yeah, this is the finished drawing, but again we do our own hand lettering. This was how I was going to do it and didn't like it, so put a curve through it and did something else. And then elephant, again loads of doodles, sketches, and these heads all go on that body because I quite like the body, but just by using my tracing paper I can put it on, take it off, see what I want to do. Doodles, little mice that appeared as part of the little elements.
How long did it take you to put this collection together?
We started talking about it probably almost a year ago.
Wow.
And so this is the zebra. In fact, that was the zebra from our embroidery pattern, our very first one. And we still liked it, so we just included it. Does my bum look big in this? People love that saying to go with it.
Brilliant.
But you can see I keep fiddling, lots of different tracing, I'm changing the nose, changing the eyes, adding more bits on.
Isn't that cool?
Because the eyes are really, really important. And then we go on to some other stuff. But so that is basically from whence they came. Right, so I wanted to really show in these journal pages what each stamp, what it creates, because sometimes you just see all the little elements on the side and you're not really sure. So on this one, this is, well, I say this is one of my favourites. The buffalo is really my favourite. But you get two sizes of splats, which I think look brilliant on anything. You get your silhouette, your main rhino, a sentiment, and a couple of little birds. Another sentiment. But the birds you can put on its back, on its horn, use anywhere you like.
I like this. You've just used the splats here on this page. Doesn't that look effective? effective, just like that, with nothing else. Love it.
We try and fill every space available, and we try and fill it with something that's going to work well with the hero, but also, if you're not going to use it for that, if you want to use it on fabric, I mean, that would be brilliant just on a piece of fabric, just splat on. Same with the elephant. We try and, you know, do things that you can repeat to do borders. You've got a little mouse that's sitting down so that he could be sitting on a flower or something else, and another one standing up. So that's the Ellie. Buffalo Jill. Yeah, that there is a name for that, Mel, because she's got loads of...
Gazelle, is it?
No. A springbok, that was it.
Of course it is.
She's got loads of photos of antelope and all sorts, and that was one of them. But this particular stamp here is lovely, and that works really well. If you want to get it close, you can actually do a square frame with it.
Do you know what? I love the elements of all the flowers and the flourishes that you've got with the animals. It just works beautifully, doesn't it?
Yes, well, we try. And then the hippo, I did this one earlier, which, can I just get it and show? Because I finished it off. Excuse me.
What a lovely page as well, because you've got the hippo there with the pools of water. Just so beautiful. And another lovely sample just there.
Yeah, this is what we made at the launch show. Wow. And this was just a salt pot that was empty of salt.
Really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, and we just covered it. Made a lid for it, made a tag.
That's
from the hippo. So if you want to see how that was made, just go back to catch up on the 6 o'clock show and you'll be able to see it.
Nice, fab. Oh look, and there's a splat, you see. Yeah. It's just there, just used on the side. Excellent, love that.
So what I like particularly about this one is I like this spotted effect, because that's great for creating and extending the design further. So I mean, you could use just part of the hippo on a small card.
And that's part of the stamp set?
It's all part of the... Everything you see stamped here is part of the hippo set.
Love that.
But by adding more to it, you can just extend it, and you can do journal covers, and then if you want to do cushions. Yes. So it makes it a lot more versatile. And then Mel's favourite, which is the zebra, and this is the zebra that was part of our embroidery patterns, which is, we did, really was one of our first ones. And then there's postrage.
Which is your favourite?
Buffalo Jill.
Buffalo Jill?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. And actually...
Why? Why is it Buffalo Jill?
When we did it, I said to Mel I didn't really want to do it, and I said, I'm not sure if I really like it. But having used it to create things, I find it the most versatile because of its ears. You can make its ears 3D, and we did it on fabric and made we did the PVA and water treatment, made it 3D. So I really like it, and I just think she's sort of got a bit of character about her.
If I had a favourite, do you know what? I just wouldn't be able to choose, so I'd go for the whole complete collection.
Anyway, what I'm going to do, Janice, is I'm going to paint this piece here, but initially I'm just going to start using white. So it's just going to be two-tone for now, but then I'm going to introduce maybe a little bit of our pastels, which are brand new multi-surface, which are just lovely. We've always done the brights, but we've now introduced some really pretty pastels. So what I'm going to try and do is use it very, very, very dilute as a bit of a wash, and then I'm going to start adding more and more pigment and less water, and you can see the difference between it. But again, permanent on fabric if you wanted to use it on fabric. So we'll do a sort of a rough wash, and this will be really, really pale white. In fact, you could probably barely see it. Yeah. Just to get a bit of a background. Now I'm adding to my water a little bit more pigment, so it gets a little bit more concentrated.
I see.
Just random. I'm not going to be too careful at this stage. I should be more careful when I get neater with it. Yeah.
Is there any rhyme or reason for you placing the white in those areas? Like, is it a shading?
I'm kind of thinking, well, especially with his body, I'm thinking that the light's coming in on the top and is going to catch the top. This, I just want to have a contrast between here and his body, because I will actually hopefully be adding a little bit of colour as well. So just keep adding more and more.
It looks great on this craft card, doesn't it?
Right, I'm going to try and add a little bit of almost like his sort of maybe in the bush somewhere, or walking through some grasses. I love this two-tone technique. And of course two-tone doesn't have to be black and white. I mean, two-tone can just be black and one other colour, and that can be really stunning. What I quite often do, I wonder if I've got a piece I could... this is a great technique.
It's already really standing out, isn't it?
Right, what I do sometimes is get just a piece of card or paper, put it in your paint, and that makes great grasses.
Yeah, love that.
Because it's not too contrived.
Yes. Yeah, don't try too hard, I think is the key with it.
In fact, we can make it smaller as well, so we can get some smaller bits of grass. That's them down here. You know, I'm not bothered about the birds, because what I might do is actually have the birds sitting on something. I might add that later. And I want to sort of bring a bit of the white across to this side, so it's not all isolated on one side. So move over and do. I think when you're painting, you know, we have a lot of people, we're on our Facebook page, we get asked lots of questions, and actually people are really, really helpful on there and, you know, try and assist and give answers. But I think generally you just have to sort of not worry. Yeah. All it is a piece of paper. Yeah. If it goes really horribly wrong, just pull it out and start again and try something else. But I always think nothing goes really horribly wrong that can't be sorted out.
Yeah,
if something looks, you know, you think, oh, drat, I've got, I mean, that doesn't bother me, but if it bothered you, get a piece of tissue and wipe it off and you know, move on.
Sometimes it's good to walk away, isn't it, and then come back.
Yeah, it is.
I find that if I'm doing something and I just can't see a way out of what I'm doing, I think, right, I'm going to have a cup of tea. When you come back, it looks completely different. Fresh eyes is always a good thing.
Yeah, and I also think people are quite critical of what they do as well, don't they? They sort of judge themselves a bit too much. Do you paint at all, Janice?
I try, yeah. I've got some watercolours. I try and paint. Sometimes I just paint things that are in my head rather than what I see. I know, it's crazy, isn't it? But also I like to just sit in the garden or go somewhere and, you know, try and paint what's in front of me. But I love taking pictures, so...
Well, I know you're a super, super photographer. I've been following you, and your lovely dog pictures and stuff are just gorgeous.
It's just, I see things and I think I've got to capture it. So I'm more instant with my photos, but then I like to try and paint them when I get back. Some people say that's cheating, but I don't think so.
No, I don't think so.
Because I've taken the picture, so I've seen the scene, I just don't want to sit outside and paint it.
In the wet and cold.
But it's a lovely pastime, because you really do start to develop and build up.
Your photography is two-tone, isn't it?
Yeah.
Generally, is it always black and white?
I do like black and white photography, because sometimes it makes you think a little bit more about what's in the image. And you can be a little bit more creative as you take that information in, because you've only got the tones to work with rather than colour. But yeah, I do like two tones. Yeah,
I think it's the same with painting, isn't it? You know, you have to really think about, instead of getting bogged down with colour, you have to really think about light and shade, I think, a bit, perhaps a bit more than you would normally. So can you see, I'm not taking a huge amount of care. You know, you at home, you could, you know, really go in with a much finer brush and take a bit more time over it. But you can see how this white is just making it pop out.
Amazing.
Doesn't it? It makes big difference. I just love black and white. But like I say, I do want to add one other colour to this. I'm not quite sure what colour yet, but I'm going to add it.
Would you go for a light colour, dark colour?
I don't know yet. Normally I'd say to Mel, what colour should I put on? And then she'll tell me, and I think, oh no, I hope she wasn't going to say that. And then I put it on, and then I think she was right anyway, so...
Oh, maybe we could put that to the test.
Yeah, maybe we could.
It could be like, you know, on Mr and Mrs, where one is in the booth, and we ask a question, and they've got the headphones on, and they can't hear it. Then they come out the booth, and they ask the question, they still get it wrong. And there goes 50 years of marriage.
Right, another little flower down here. Bit of highlight on these. I mean, Rhino has this sort of crusty skin, doesn't it? And this is what I put these in to sort of try and...
Not just rhinos either. I get it coming up this month of March with all the wind, I tell you. Please have it with my skin, March does.
Right, so what I want to do with these grasses, I want to take them a little bit further, so I'm actually going to make some of them look like they're...
Oh, like the seeds on there.
Yes. I mean, they could just be little dots, couldn't they? It doesn't have to be anything major. And I just think that takes it a little bit further.
This is lovely. I do love watching you paint.
Well, it's a bit of speed painting, isn't it? But there we are. You get the idea. Now, you see, it looks like he's actually coming and walking through the grasses, doesn't he?
Yeah.
And that's by basically having a foreground, putting a foreground in, and also trying to sort of emulate a little bit of a background. So you kind of look at it that you've got this is at the front, he's in the middle, but there's also grasses at the back.
Yeah.
And you know, it doesn't have to be grasses. You could put anything. You could put another animal. In fact, if you did some masking up, you could put your zebra in the back and put a mask on, and then do two together. When you get
all these stamps home, using masking, you could have a whole. What would be a collection for all these animals? Would it be? Well, it wouldn't be a herd or a group, or you could do. Yeah, you could put them together. You could use all of them together, or just maybe put a couple like this sample just here.
Yeah,
I mean, this is lovely.
That's Gail.
These three friends all met together. There's myself, Kathy, and Mel. Oh, and four friends. There's little Lottie. Just there, coming along for the ride. There you go, we're all looking for Jimmy. Isn't that lovely?
Gail Bond is one of our new DT members. She just started off as a member on the Pink Inkers, and we spotted her on there, and she's now joined the team. Yeah, we've got three new ladies, all very, very talented. Karen Royal, Gail Bond and Annette Dawson.
And this was using a liquid pencil. Wow.
In fact, I'm not going to use my brush for that. I'm going to use a gel pen, I think.
Yeah, can you imagine the different configurations and groups of animals? And you could have three together as a friend, or you could have four, or do all of them and have them as a border running along. Oh, that would look amazing. Or if you've got like a big, on a quilt, can you imagine them on a quilt with fabric inks? Oh my word. They would be amazing. Yeah, you could do blocks with them.
You're getting carried away.
Word.
Getting carried away, Janice.
Oh, there's so many things you could do.
How am I doing for time? Have I got?
Time-wise, we've got 15 minutes left.
Oh, lovely. I might get my fabric painted yet.
Yeah.
Should be nice. Okay, so...
Have you decided on another colour yet?
Well, has Mel decided on another colour?
Oh, I'll ask Mel. We'll play a bit of Mrs. and Mrs. here.
All right, then.
What colour would you consider or would like Kathy to use on this particular drawing? What colour would you go for?
I think because it's got to stand out, I'd go with hot pink.
Hot pink.
Interesting. Oh, no, I like that. Yeah, I'm pleased she said that.
There you go.
Yeah, that's cool.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Although I don't eat chicken.
Yeah.
I don't want these birds to look like they're sort of floating in the middle of some grass, so I'm going to make them kind of look like they're on a twig or something.
Yeah.
Just, you know, you don't have to have something very complicated, just a few little brush marks will do.
That's lovely. That works so well.
And then one on this side. And then we'll go in for the hot pink.
What brush are you using there? What's
this is the cheapest brush. I don't know, I can't remember where I got it from. But my top tip for brushes, as long as it's got a good point, it doesn't really matter about the size of it, it's the point that is important. So, you know, I always make sure, and I always check before I buy one, I always check to make sure there's no random hairs sitting up above where it shouldn't be sitting. So let's just dry that off, because I'm mindful I've got some big lumps down here. So if you feel that you've gone over any of the black lines and you want to ham it up a little bit, just with a little fine liner, you can just draw the lines back in. You can see I've actually painted over that one, because our white is, when it's neat, is opaque.
Perfect.
So that just pops it in.
Is it strange for you to do that, in respect the fact that you actually drew that in the first place and now you're going over it again? Does it feel...
Not really, because actually...
Is it like hand memory? That's what I'm trying to say. Do you get like a hand memory to just go over it again because, you know, you drew it?
I don't think so. I mean, I like the idea that with a pen you can go on and then... I mean, people could actually then put their own little swirls in, couldn't they? And take it... let's have one coming up here. You know, they can use the stamp as the basis and then keep going.
And what pen are you using there? Does it matter on the thickness?
No, well, this is a 0.1. I quite often use actually even finer than this, as long as it's fine.
Yeah.
And then you can, if it's too fine, you just keep going over and add more and more lines.
Yeah.
But it's just quite a good way. I often do it actually on sentiments. Sometimes sentiments, by the time you've painted them, they might not be as clear, and so I would just go in and, you know, like just redefine that S and the whole lot if you wanted to.
Yeah.
You could go in and you could do some really lovely little decorations on his wings. You know, so do your own thing on top and take it a little bit further. So I'm just, some of it's going on top of the white and some of it is going on the brown, so you can see, you know, it keeps its colour really, really well.
Oh, yeah,
even with the darker.
Good choice, Mel. Good choice with that hot pink.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? And anything colour-wise, she is always spot on. I think there's a little flower under there. And I think I'm going to use a little bit with some water and try and sort of do a bit of shading with it as well, and we'll see how that turns out. So. I mean, I perhaps should have done this first and done the white then on top of the pink, but I can go around it, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah. So
he's got a little bit of a pink tone to his...
he looks happy though, doesn't he?
Well, now we're saying he, but it's got flowers on, so you know, do you think he's a he or...?
Why not? Why not? It could be festival time.
It could be.
Or it could be like mating time when he needs to go out and find a female, so he's got all glammed up. Whatever, he or she looks very happy. Or it might be gender neutral.
Could be gender neutral.
Yeah.
There we are, and then I'm going to do a little bit of pink on this here, so the bird is connected a bit to what it's sitting on. Now, I've noticed that some of our DTers, I haven't given the edge of this leg, and that's really, sometimes I don't think you need to give everything. People can sort of work out what they want to do with the leg, but you know, you could cut it short, you could leave it so it sort of goes into nothing, a bit like the body. You know, sometimes you don't have to have a start, a finish and an end. It's just a suggestion of what goes where. So that's been quite interesting to see where people have kind of finished off, and all quite different. So I'm putting this pink basically where the shading is. Can you see it's all on this side? It's not on that side. So it's tying in with the flowers, and then with clear water I'm just sort of pulling it away, so you don't get like a hard edge.
Now, will you be at the NEC show?
No, we used to do loads and loads and loads of shows, but actually we're not retired from them, but we do a lot less. We prefer actually to just be in the studio designing, and you know, other people would be there with our products and stuff. Although we are coming out of retirement for Ali Pali in the summer.
Oh, yeah, that's in August.
It is. Yeah. We will be at that one, so. Yeah, we're looking forward to. Are you going to be at that one? I'm
going to go to the NEC, and we do have tickets available for that. I'm not sure who's going to Ali Pali. We had the list through the other day. It might be Adam is going to Ali Pali. I'm going to Harrogate, which is in, I'd like to say May. I would like to say May. I think it's May.
I've never done Harrogate before, so I'm not quite sure when it is.
I can't remember. I think it's sometime there.
Right, I've just added a little bit of pink here, just so it goes onto there, and then I'm actually going to go over this black in the middle. again to tie the pink in so it's all connected.
Got you. I mean, you do that on all of them or just a few?
No, I won't do it on all. I just want to do it at the bottom and then I'll randomly go up and do less and less as I go up to the top. So,
now, how long have we got left on the show? About 5 minutes. Is that going to be enough for you to do your fabric, or do you want to carry on with that?
No, I can do. I think it'd be nice for people to see a little bit of fabric. I mean, I can do it again in the morning.
Yeah,
but so basically, you can get to see where we've gone. Little pink on the rhino, dot on the rhino,
that is
and
fabulous.
And I think I'd probably leave it like that. Here we are.
That is brilliant. Isn't that fantastic? Look at that.
But he looks like he's in the wilderness, doesn't he? He's just walking through.
Yeah, he really, really does. I love that.
Right.
And only using white and the hot pink. Right.